I've been drawing every day for over 2 years straight, but I've never ever tried drawing realistic food before, so for the first time ever, that's what I did. I chose this blueberry smoothie because, I don't know, I like blueberries and smoothies, and why draw something you don't like? So I started off with a really rough sketch. You can see it is very questionable. And I decided to block in the whipped cream first until I got bored, and I was like, you know what, I should probably stop. So I tried doing the blueberries first, actually. Now, the blueberries were actually a lot easier than I thought. I think it's because it had only two main components, which was the frost and the darker core on the inside. And I feel like once you get the color scheme of that right, it is quite easy to maintain a realistic look to it. Honestly, I had a lot of trouble with the frost. I did end up using a default brush that has little dots that I could use, so I didn't have to manually dot in every single frost. But you can see I used a lot of layers for it. I don't know if that's good or bad, but I tried. Then I went in and tried to do the leaf. You can see I'm really playing around with the colors. I don't know if I wanted it saturated or desaturated, but yeah. But before that, I had to actually fill in like the yogurt smoothie part. Again, I just completely guessed the colors. I really wanted to challenge myself and not do color dropping, so all these colors are just randomly picked because I wanted to see if I had that like good eye to color coordination, if that makes sense. So yeah, the leaf I think was one of the hardest parts beside the whipped cream, just because the color was hard to get right, and I'm just not good at drawing leaves. And then I tried to make the cup look a little bit more cup-like, and then I was like, hey, you know what, I gotta do the final blueberry. So I went in manually for the first little bit, kind of putting in the frosted tips, and I was like, you know what, let me just use the default brush. You can see I'm trying so many different types because I truly have no idea how many frost-like Procreate default brushes there are. There are actually quite a few, and I think some of them look not bad. So I think the final blueberry actually looks the best just because I already had practice with the first two. And then I tried going back to fix the leaf. I don't know, there was just something so wrong about the leaf. It looks really fluffy. It kind of looks like hair, not really like flora. But I was like, you know what, let me just move on to the whipped cream. Little did I know that the whipped cream would be even harder than the leaf because shadows are hard, man. Like, how do you make this gray blob look like yummy whipped cream? I really don't know. I had a lot of trouble with this. Also, I didn't mention, but I was trying to use the same brush for the entire painting. Besides the default brush that I used for the frosted blueberries, I'm using one brush for the entire thing. I don't know why I did that. I just wanted to see if the brush that I used, which I love, was good for also realism, and I think in the end it actually looks quite good. I'm using the Yummy textured coloring brush from this set that you can find in the description, but basically I think it actually worked quite well for the realistic aspect. But yeah, I think it worked quite well, and it's very versatile. Anyways, the whipped cream, you can see I was having a lot of trouble. I think it looked too blurry and messy. But honestly, when I was drawing it, I was kind of delusional at the point. I was like, you know what? Wow, this is so good. Like, look at these blueberries. They look so realistic. The whipped cream, a little setback, but you know what? I can go back and fix it later. And you know what? It kind of worked because after I moved away from the whipped cream, kind of stepped away, tried something else, and had the time to go back and fix it, I think it looked a little bit better than before. Also, blueberries reminds me of a funny story. I think I have some time to tell a funny story, but one time I had a nice bacon egg McMuffin sandwich for breakfast, and then after I brushed my teeth, I was looking in the mirror and I was like, oh my god, I have a huge cavity. It was just like a huge black hole right at my bottom molar, and I called the dentist and I was like, oh my gosh, I have this huge hole, please fix it for me. And they're like, okay, come in 3 weeks. And I was like, 3 weeks, that's way too long. I'm literally gonna have the biggest cavity ever. And then 6 hours later I looked in the mirror and I was like, it's literally gone. And then I realized it's because my teeth has a lot of dents in it, and I think a piece of bacon got stuck in the dent and it just made it look like a cavity. And I think blueberries reminds me of that story because blueberry skin also gets stuck in like the teeth indents, and it also looks like a cavity. So next time when you look in the mirror and you think it's a cavity, make sure it is not a piece of blueberry skin or bacon. Okay, back to the drawing. I was just liquefying a few things, putting in some extra shadows, some final touches, and then I realized, I was like, you know what? I forgot to do the plate and the spoon. So I did it really speedy quick because I got kind of impatient, honestly, and I was like, you know what? If I don't finish this now, then I probably don't want to finish this ever. So I honestly should have put in a little bit more effort in the spoon and the plate. I'm sorry. Now looking back, it's a little not up to par as the rest of the piece. So I am sorry for that. But now we are just moving on to one of my favorite steps, which is basically just color correction, making sure everything flows together nicely, doing some extra liquefy, changing up the color grading a little bit, and yeah, I think we're basically done. That took about 2.5 hours, and I think it's not bad for 2.5 hours, never trying realism and never tried drawing food before, so let me know how you think I did. Here's me zooming in and out of the piece. Would I do it again? Yes, maybe. Here's a side-by-side. Whoa, my blueberries are way smaller than theirs. Let me make it bigger. Okay, there we go. I think that's a little better. Not bad. I would rate myself maybe like a 7 or 6 out of 10. Yeah, I think it's not bad. Okay, bye.